same thing is coming for all of us. There is only one war that matters. The Great War. And it is here.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 Endgame Theories video. Today I will be answering some of the questions you left me on my community tab. I noticed there was one particular question I kept getting over and over again. This question also had the most amount of likes. I figured I should address this one right away, so without further ado, let's begin. Several different people basically asked me the same question, so I will just read what the top one says. Do you think that the Waif is posing as Arya? We didn't exactly see who won their final showdown. What could be the Faceless Men's motivation for doing so? The Waif knows Arya's background information. What do you think? I think this theory is wrong for many different reasons, and just off the top of my head, there are at least 4 different things that tell me this is not true. The first reason is because we see the Waif's face hanging up in the House of Black and White. After Arya kills the Waif, she literally removes her face, and she places it on the wall for Jack and Agar to see. She was pissed off because he sent the Waif to kill her, but Arya wanted to prove she is not so easily killed. If the Waif did do this, then that means she would have cut her own face off because it's clearly covered in blood. The second reason is because after Arya leaves Braavos, she immediately goes to the twins and wipes out House Frey. She kills 2 of Walter's sons, then feeds them to him. After she watches him take a bite, she reveals who she really is, then slices his throat. Once Walter Frey is dead, Arya uses his face to kill the rest of the men in his family. If the Waif was actually wearing Arya's face, why would she go through all of this trouble? The Waif would have no motivation to do this. Arya killed the Freys to avenge her family. The third reason is because of what happened shortly after this. As Arya is heading to King's Landing to kill Cersei, she stops at the Crossroads Inn to get some grub. When she is there, she reunites with Hot Pie, who she recognizes immediately. Do you mean to tell me the Waif would have known his name was Hot Pie? I mean, come on. But anyways, this is when she learns her family has retaken Winterfell from the Boltons, so she decides to go home instead of going to King's Landing. As she is heading north, a pack of wolves circle her, and they are ready to rip her throat out. But that's only until the leader of their pack comes out and not only recognizes it's Arya, but also smells and senses that it's Arya. I know some people still question whether this was supposed to be Nymeria or not, but if you watch the post-show after this episode, the producers confirm it is Nymeria, obviously. If this was the Waif posing as Arya, she would have been torn to pieces by these wolves. Even Arya was in danger until Nymeria stepped out and calmed things down. The Starks and their direwolves have a very deep connection. Nymeria didn't just recognize Arya's face. She didn't even need to see Arya's face to know that it was her. Arya could have had her back turned, and she still would have known. These direwolves were a gift from the old gods. They did not stumble across these by accident. They were sent to them for a very specific reason, mostly to protect them. But they have also helped guide them, and helped them make certain discoveries. Ghost leads Jon to the White that is about to kill Lord Commander Mormont. Jon would not have known if it wasn't for Ghost getting his attention. Summer saves Bran when the assassin came to kill him. Summer also leads Bran to the weirwood tree beyond the wall, which is when Bran touches the tree for the first time and has several different visions. Also, in the books, Ghost is actually the one who discovers the buried dragonglass near the Fist of the First Men. They had Sam and Gren find it in the show, but it's actually Ghost who leads Jon to the buried treasure. The direwolves play a very important role in the story. There are several great quotes in the books that tell us exactly where these direwolves came from. In A Clash of Kings, during one of Catelyn's chapters, she says, "The great Jon's been heard to say that the old gods of the north sent those direwolves to your children." Catelyn remembered the day her boys had found the pups in the late summer snows. There had been 5, 3 male and 2 female for the 5 true-born children of House Stark, and a 6th, white of fur and red of eye, for Ned's bastard son Jon Snow. No common wolves, she thought. No indeed. In A Storm of Swords, during one of Jon's chapters, he says, "Red eyes," Jon realized, but not like Melisandre's. He had a werewood's eyes. Red eyes, red mouth, white fur, blood and bone, like a heart tree. He belongs to the old gods, this one. In another one of Catelyn's chapters, this is what was said. Any man Grey Wind mislikes is a man I do not want close to you. These wolves are more than wolves, Robb. You must know that. I think perhaps the gods sent them to us. Your father's gods. The old gods of the north. 5 wolf pups, Robb. 5 for 5 Stark children. 6, said Robb. There was a wolf for Jon as well. I found them, remember? I know how many there were and where they came from. I used to think the same as you, that these wolves were our guardians, our protectors. There are many more examples than this, but as you can see, these dire wolves were a gift to the Starks. They were sent to watch over them and protect them. Their bond is much deeper than just facial recognition. So, do you really think if the Waif murdered Arya and was wearing her face, that Nymeria would just allow her to continue to do this? There is no way in hell Nymeria would have let the Waif out of her sight while wearing Arya's face. She would have known, and she would have killed her. The last reason has to do with Arya's brother Bran. Bran is now the Three-Eyed Raven. Bran has basically seen everything they have been through. He saw Sansa get married in the God's Wood, which took place in Season 5. He also saw Arya contemplating whether or not to go and kill Cersei. If Arya was actually dead, Bran would know. Bran is now the last Greenseer, and he can see far beyond the weirwood trees now. In A Dance with Dragons, this is what Bran was told. A weirwood will live forever if undisturbed. To them, seasons pass in a flutter of a moss wing, and past, present, and future are one. Nor will your sight be limited to your Godswood. The singers carved eyes into their heart trees to awaken them, and those are the first eyes a new Greenseer learns to use. But in time, you will see well beyond the trees themselves. Bran is now a very powerful Greenseer, and if Arya died, I believe he would know. He would not have handed the Waif that Valyrian steel dagger. He would have warned everyone at Winterfell that an impostor was heading their way. But these are just my opinions. I know this theory would make things a little more interesting to some people, but I just don't believe it to be true. Alright, now let's move on to the next question, and this one comes from my friend Mel of Winterfell. She says, do you think more people knew of Jon's lineage? Did Aemon, Benjen, or even Littlefinger know? It's hard to believe more people didn't know about Lyanna and Rhaegar, especially since they were together so long before Lyanna died. This is a good question because I've wondered this myself, and I came to the conclusion that Maester Aemon might have known. I actually made a video about this. That video is called The Three-Eyed Raven Secret Alliance. I highly recommend that you watch that video because I went in depth about how I think this is possible. It would take me too long to explain everything again, but basically what I think is Maester Aemon and the Three-Eyed Raven may have still been in communication with each other after all these years. For those of you that don't know, the Three-Eyed Raven was actually in the Night's Watch many years ago. He joined the Night's Watch at the same exact time as Maester Aemon. They even traveled to the Wall together. Not only did they serve at the Wall together, but they are related. Both of them are Targaryens, just like Jon. Rhaegar Targaryen, Aemon Targaryen, Jon Snow, and the Three-Eyed Raven, also known as Brynden Rivers, are all related by blood. When Maester Aemon and the Three-Eyed Raven arrived at the Wall together, Aemon obviously became the Maester, and Brynden soon became the Lord Commander. This means Maester Aemon would have spent a lot of time with him while they served together. They served at the Wall together for over 13 years, so you can only imagine how many conversations they may have had. And Brynden was already dabbling into the dark arts and prophecy. He was already known for having a connection with the Ravens, especially since he was the Master of Whisperers when he was in King's Landing. And can you guess who took care of the Ravens at the Wall? Maester Aemon was in charge of the Rookery, and we know this is the Three-Eyed Raven's main source of communication. There is a ton of evidence in the books that hint at the Three-Eyed Raven controlling the birds at the Wall. He doesn't just control them, but he actually makes them speak. When Lord Commander Mormont tells Jon about Maester Aemon's family, he tells Jon how Jaime Lannister killed the last Dragon King, the Mad King. But the Raven looks directly at Jon and calls him a king, and the Raven never takes his eyes off of Jon. The Raven, who is being controlled by the Three-Eyed Raven, is telling us all the Dragon Kings are not dead, because Jon is obviously a secret Targaryen king. Now, I don't know if Maester Aemon knew everything Brendan was up to, but I think they may have continued talking even after he went missing beyond the wall, and ultimately became the Three-Eyed Raven. I think he may have told Maester Aemon about Jon. He could have told him that one day Jon would join him at the wall, and he would need to watch over him and give him guidance or counsel to keep him on track. The Three-Eyed Raven could have even been sending Maester Aemon dreams about Jon, and I think this is why Maester Aemon was immediately drawn to Jon when he came to the wall. I think he knew Jon had Targaryen blood. Just go back and listen to all the things Maester Aemon would say to Jon. To me, it really seemed like he knew more than he was willing to admit. When Maester Aemon gives Jon the kill the boy speech, he does it a little differently in the books. Before he gives Jon that advice, he reaches out and he touches Jon's face. When he does this, it immediately makes Maester Aemon think of Aegon Targaryen. He says he gave Aegon the same speech before he left for the wall. So there's an obvious connection here. As we all know, Jon is actually named Aegon Targaryen as well, and Aemon gives the same speech to two different Aegons. If any other people knew the truth about Jon, I would bet on Maester Aemon knowing. After you finish watching this, go check out my video called The Three-Eyed Raven Secret Alliance. In that video, I back up this theory with several quotes and examples of the Three-Eyed Raven keeping an eye on things at the wall, and I bet Aemon knew what was up. I will actually pin the link to the video at the top of the comment section, that way it's easier to find. Alright, now let's move on to the next question. And this next question comes from Victor Von Deathstroke. Do you think Jaime has to die to complete his character arc? This is a really good question because I think Jaime is one of the most complicated characters in the story, and I also think he's one of the most interesting characters in the story. I don't know if he necessarily has to die to complete his story arc or redemption arc, but I do believe he will die in the end. I think Jaime is linked to Bran Stark through his heinous act of throwing him out the window, so I suspect they will meet again next season. I think Jaime may aid Bran in the fight against the others, and he may die there with his honor regained, or he may end up doing something after that, which could be tied in with killing Cersei and stopping her from blowing up King's Landing. The show could also have Jaime die with Cersei, or in the arms of the woman that he loves, which is now Brienne in my opinion. But whatever it is, it must have a huge impact on the story. Since the show has been slowly developing Jaime the last few seasons, I'm hoping they make up for lost time in the next couple episodes. I think Jaime still has a massive role to play. He could save one of the Stark's lives in the Great War. Then he could even save King's Landing from total annihilation again. Jaime's empty pages in the White Book has haunted him for a very long time. He does not want to die with only being known as the man who killed the king he had sworn to protect. Now that Jaime will no longer be influenced by Cersei's madness, I think he will do whatever it takes to be seen as an honorable man. Now maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part, but I know Jaime wants to do the right thing, and now he no longer has anything holding him back. So, do I think he needs to die to complete his character arc? This all depends on how big he steps up. He might not have to, but I don't see him making it out of both wars alive. I just have this feeling Jaime will give his life to save some others, but maybe I'm wrong. What do all of you think about Jaime's redemption arc? Do you believe he has to die in order to complete it? I will have to cut this video a little short today, but I have all the other questions saved, so I will make another one of these videos sometime next week. I also have more foreshadowing videos to do and more chapter readings to do. I have a bunch of other videos coming out this week, so keep your notifications on, that way you can be alerted as soon as they get uploaded. I want to thank you all for stopping by to watch the video, and I also want to thank everyone on Patreon for continuing to support the channel. I really appreciate that. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.